Well, hello, people. It is I, the Oracle of Whimsy, and I'm getting comfortable being back at home. And I'm here with my familiar, and by golly, I decided to come on board and talk to you all about some of the remote viewings I've been doing over the last couple of days. Let me tell you, it has been wild. First up, First off, I want to talk about the fiasco that happened yesterday in Wisconsin. Kyle Rittenhouse, not guilty. How do you all feel about that, my fellow justice warriors, my fellow human beings who actually care about human life? Pretty disturbing, right? Pretty disturbing. Basically, any crazy person, as long as he's young and white and knows how to cry on the witness stand, can run around with a gun acting like a psychopath. And if you try to take it away from him, he has the right to murder you. That's basically what they're telling us with Kyle Rittenhouse's verdict. Anyway, I did a remote view on him, and it feels to me when I go into this energy in Wisconsin, like we're probably going to have a couple of things happening. Number one, I think that there's going to be some kind of memorial put up. I think there's going to be some kind of justice movement that's set up in that area. I think there's going to be a motivation to help vulnerable people who have been victims of injustice in that area. But I also see a lot happening in terms of education. The other thing I see with Kyle Rittenhouse is that it's probably a good idea for him to leave Wisconsin. Maybe he should move to, I don't know, Oklahoma or Texas or somewhere far away. Change your name and maybe get some facial surgery, because this is a guy who's probably going to be haunted for the rest of his life. I want to throw some cards on it, but it doesn't look good for the future of Kyle Rittenhouse. The other person that I've been looking at and doing remote viewings on, another ghastly, horrible person, is the dreadful Steve Bannon. And that's interesting. When you go into his energy, it looks like not only is his career over and he's facing additional charges here in the United States, but when you follow the energy of Steve Bannon, you also get the impression that he could be facing additional charges outside the United States. This is looking like he is part of a network of investigations happening in Europe and in other countries that involve spending money to bribe people, put people in positions of power, et cetera, et cetera. And those ongoing investigations that are taking place in Europe, et cetera, could result in Bannon possibly being extradited and having to be a star witness in some of those cases. So those are the two ugly, awful people we're going to be looking at with the cards. But that's a little bit of how I felt when I meditated on those two dreadful people. So I want to just go ahead and do the empath prayer. And we're going to do just 2 throws, keeping it short, sweet, and beautiful. The first is going to be on the future of Kyle Rittenhouse, and the second is going to be about the future of Steve Bannon. But let's go ahead and do the empath prayer first, shall we? All right, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this great community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, and the people we love. And together collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. Let's take a look at the future of Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay, the first thing I'm hearing as I go into this energy is that the prosecution is not done with Kyle Rittenhouse. And the reason why he's facing additional charges is because there were things that he was not charged with. And so what prosecution is going to do now is they're going to continue, and they're going to look for additional charges that they can place against him, against his mother, and against other people that were involved. Because when I was splitting the cards, the card that bounced out was justice. And as I saw that card, I was led into the prosecutor's offices, and they're looking at additional charges. You can see here the base of the matter is the King of Wands. It's based on Yehuda from the Torah, King Solomon, Yehuda, etc., but specifically Yehuda with the Lion of Judah behind him, who we think of as the perfect judge, the person who humbles himself and stands before the tribe and makes the tough decisions. And so regarding this case, we have some strong justice coming in, some strong ethics coming in. But you also have a karma card here of walking away from something that has been built. And so there's this feeling that this individual is going to have to let everything go that they had previously built or had in that community. The first card here for Kyle Rittenhouse is the Three of Pentacles. It's thought of as a real estate card, but I also use it as an evidence card where evidence is being presented and being evaluated. And in this case, I really feel like he is facing additional charges, and the people that aided and abetted him are facing some charges as well. And it has to do with weapons handling, the way that weapons were registered. They're not done with these people. There's a Two of Swords crossing, which would indicate that, again, this story isn't over and they are going to still need additional legal protection. I'm also seeing civil lawsuits starting to come, and I'm seeing civil lawsuits being mounted as well. There's also possibly lawsuits against the city of Kenosha. So we're looking at multiple lawsuits. The situation has been transformed in the third house. And you can see entering into sixth position, the new energy moving in is the Eight of Pentacles, which is the Master's card. That's the fourth house. So it's the energy that's coming in. What we've come out of is Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is the con man, the juggler of coin, the trickster. So we're coming out of chaos, crazy. And we're now entering in the time of mastery with, again, the Death card sitting in the third house. So things are changing. There's a transformation coming in, and we're leaving the time of chaos, confusion, the time of Loki, right? And we're entering into the time of the Masters, 10 of Cups, a celebration, and the Masters coming in where they're at right now, establishing a strong foundation. The other in opposition to him, the Hanged Man. So in Kyle Rittenhouse's mind, he thinks that this is behind him. He doesn't know that he has started. I don't think that this young person who lacked the emotional maturity to be handling a gun, let alone making decisions about what you should do with such a gun, understands the full ramifications of what he has done. And he doesn't understand the ramifications globally, right? So there appears to be new legal cases coming in, lawsuits, civil suits, suits against the city, suits against the state, etc. And it's ongoing, and it is unfortunately his karma. So the clarification for Rittenhouse is that he has additional legal problems to deal with. He is not safe where he's at. He's going to be subpoenaed for civil suits, and he's not going to want to testify. And we're going to be seeing some of those civil suits as early as summer, late summer of 2022. And the bad news for him is, again, here's the thing, he has to leave. He's not safe there, but unfortunately, until these civil suits are completed, he's not going to be able to leave. But you can see here, I see him moving possibly to a southwesterly direction. He'd be okay in parts of California, Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma would be good for him, parts of Colorado. Change your name, change your identity, etc. There's also this with him as a final outcome, which could indicate that for Kyle Rittenhouse, because of the psychological trauma and issues he has, he could very likely wind up with potentially a drug or alcohol abuse problem, with a devil card as his final outcome. So unfortunately for him, the story isn't over. And in fact, in many ways, it's going to snowball, escalate into something that even he can't fathom. So I don't see rest for Kyle Rittenhouse. The only way that Kyle Rittenhouse is going to rest is if he comes to terms with what happened to him, how he was manipulated by adults, how he was played, and unfortunately, it cost people their lives. All right, so this next question we're going to be looking at right now has to do with Steve Bannon. As people know, Steve Bannon received a pardon from the former president because he was charged with stealing money that was supposed to be going towards building the wall. He's also currently being charged for refusing to answer a subpoena by Congress. The last time we went into Steve Bannon's energy, it didn't look good. The final outcome, I believe, was an inverted death card. Not good. And basically the message was that his career was over. And here we are a couple of weeks later, and it seems to be that that's exactly what's going on. But what was interesting was that the last time I looked at Steve Bannon's energy, they were talking about additional charges, and they were also talking about wanting him to be a witness or to testify in ongoing investigations outside the United States. And so for that reason, I got to look at Steve Bannon. The future of Steve Bannon. Not good, not good, not good. The Fool falls out. Okay, so the card that falls out is the Fool. So the first message from Spirit is that this individual got cocky. The problem with Steve Bannon was that he got cocky. He thought that he was above the law. He thought that he would be protected. He got arrogant. He thought that the rule didn't apply to him. And this constant carelessness on his part and this belief that powerful people would protect him ultimately led to Steve Bannon's downfall. The base of the matter is overseas contacts. This is something that we've seen when we look at Robert Mueller and the fact that trying to get informants on the boats, because the feds had limited access to international waters, et cetera. The fact that we believe, based on the kinds of Akashic records that we're looking at, doing remote viewing, that Steve Bannon seemed to have kept himself out of jail by kind of being a rat, doing a little bit of handing over of information in order to avoid certain unpleasant consequences from his actions. But you can see here, his karma card is the Seven of Cups, and that's not good because the Seven of Cups would indicate that he's not grounded in reality, that he's become part of an echo chamber that believes the crazy, right? Unfortunately, the crazy has nothing to do with objective reality. And if he continues to hold on to these crazy ideas, it will not bode well for him. It is not a good strategy going forward where he's at right now. Ace of Swords, the victory card within 1 year, and then the Star Witness. As I had said the last time he had the Star over him, the Star is the last card in the world you would want to get if there's a criminal investigation, because basically what they're saying is that within 1 year, he's the Star Witness in a criminal investigation that seems to be taking his problems overseas. In 1 year, the Star Witness, just as we saw a few weeks ago, and then the Magician card moves in. This is a guy who people have said has 9 lives, but unfortunately, third house, the Fool. He was foolish. He got cocky. The past placement, 4 of Swords. He does not want to cooperate, pulling back the energy and then entering into the time of King of Cups. King of Cups is the great mediator. He's the great negotiator. He is the bridge over troubled water, right? But unfortunately for Steve Bannon, he did too little too late. And so even though he is attempting to drag out this story and he is attempting to only give as much information as he has to in order to avoid these criminal charges. The bottom line is that for Steve Bannon cooperating, you can see the eighth house's opposition giving him a deal, his hope and fears that he cannot walk away. And then, unfortunately for Steve Bannon, the final outcome is the King of Swords is coming after him, and that can be the King of Ice King. It can also be a situation where an individual is facing the military, the police, or something like this. And then you can see the final outcome for Steve Bannon is defending himself, putting himself in a situation that's defensive. The only chance that this guy has of staying out of prison long term is that he's going to have to come forward that he was an informant, and he's going to have to openly cooperate with ongoing investigations. He's basically going to have to come out publicly as a rat. And if he does that, he may be able to reduce some of the time in prison that he's facing for these additional charges. It's not good. And I must say, for those of us who love Robert Mueller, boy, sooner or later finally came. All right, everyone, thank you for watching this quick video. And again, thank you for your love, your light, your positivity, for picking me up and carrying me on your shoulders during a really difficult time. All right, take care, everybody. I'll see you Sunday for Sunday's show. Love and light, and thanks for your support. Bye, everybody.